Hello and welcome to our Shortcuts Mobility Features webinar. My name is Beth Hendry and I'm going to be taking you through our session today. So some housekeeping first. Duration of this webinar will be approximately 30 minutes and there will be a session at the end for questions and answers. Make sure that your computer sound is switched on. If you're having any difficulties, then let me know using the chat box. There will be a questions and answers session at the end. So if you've got any questions throughout, if you just type them into the chat box and then we'll answer them at the end. So our learning outcomes for today: how to collect client information using your electronic device and how to book, manage and reschedule appointments from your electronic device using Anywhere. So today we're going to be focusing on our Anywhere feature and having a look at how we can make appointments on the go. So making appointments from a mobile device or also from a laptop or a separate computer. And also how we can manage our client information as well from a mobile or tablet. Being able to collect our client information. One of the good things about this is actually getting the clients to fill the details in themselves. So first of all, we're going to have a look at Anywhere. So Anywhere is being able to look at your diary. So the idea of this is, as a manager, you'll be able to give your manager access to all your employees, but then you will also be able to give each employee their own access so that they can view their own diaries. And you also have the option to be able to do a read only, or they can have the option to be able to actually book appointments through Anywhere as well. So to set this up, we would log into our online console, and then there is a setup user section where once we've set up our users, we would then select our Anywhere tile. And we're able to choose our employees, and then we are able to create, move or reschedule our appointments. So I'm just going to pop into the console and walk you through how we would set up somebody on Anywhere and also how we can use it. So once you're logged into your online console, of which you should have the details, if anybody doesn't have their login details for the console, then if you please let me know and then we can get these across to you, no problem. In our company settings, we have the option at the side to be able to click on our manage users. And in here, we're able to go in and we've got a list of all the users that are already set up. So we can go and edit our existing ones, or we could add in a completely new user. So if I click add a new user, and you'll see that it's given me a couple of different options. So it's given me the option to create a new user not associated with a point of sale employee. So when we're setting up our users, we can associate somebody that hasn't got a point of sale employee, so no employee within Shortcuts itself, or we can create a new user that is a point of sale employee. So the whole point of a not associated point of sale employee would be if you've got somebody who wants to look at the scorecard data, for example, or needs to be looking at data, but they're don't actually have a PIN number and don't have an employee within Shortcuts. So maybe somebody with financials. And then the create a new user that is a point of sale employee is where we would we would link up people so that we know who they are, and then we can then give them access to that Anywhere. So I'm going to create a new user that is a point of sale employee, and you'll see that it asks me for the site. So I'm just going to link them up to our site. Even if you've only got one salon, you need to still select the site and just literally select on your salon. And then you'll see in the employee section, we can then link the employee. So I'm just going to link this person up with Simon. And then I'm going to hit continue. So in here, all I need to do is just enter in the email address of my user or my employee, type in their first name and last name, and then at the bottom, I've got the section where I can then set what access they have. So we have access to Company Manager. So Company Manager means that they've got access to absolutely everything within our console. So they can change book me settings and they can go into all the different sections. And then underneath we have site roles, so our site and our employee that we've already set up. We have a site manager, so if you did have multiple sites, you are able to set up one person. So for example, Simon, I could set him up that he's only a site manager of Birmingham, which means that he can only see the details for Birmingham itself. CIC access means that that employee has access to, with their username and password, which is their email address and a password that's emailed to them. They will then be able to go in and access the CIC section of the console. Employee, so again, if you click on employee, this is our anywhere. So just by clicking on employee, that gives anywhere access, but it only gives anywhere access on a read-only basis. Site manager restricted is similar, so it links it to the site. So again, Simon could be just for Birmingham, but would have limited access to everything. So they have no access to any of the online booking settings. It's purely being able to go into Scorecard and being able to go into Spotlight, as well as being able to go into CIC and into anywhere as well. With the site managers, they are able to see everybody within that site through anywhere, so it's not just themselves, whereas if they're ticked as employee, they only see themselves. And then right at the end we have an appointment operator section. So the appointment operator section, if we tick this then gives anybody, so our site manager restricted, or our employee, it gives them a write option within anywhere. So it means that they can edit, they're able to create bookings. If that isn't ticked, then these three will only get access to read only, the anywhere option. So once you've set everybody up, and once you hit save, what that will do is that will then email a link to the email address that we've set up as their user. So the email address that we set up will automatically become their username. It will email them a link along with their username and their password, so that they can then access anywhere on their phones or tablets. So once we've done that, I'm just going to jump in and show you anywhere. So on the main screen, you'll see that there's an anywhere tile right down the bottom. So if we click on this, just bear with me a second, I'll just find our site. So if you have multiple sites, it will give you a tile per site so that you can check. So this is you as an owner or as a manager. If you were just an employee, then they would only see their own. They would log in and they would only see themselves. Now you can see I'm an owner here, so I've got access to everybody's. So I can click on all of these employees here, and if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see that I can see their diaries. I have an option at the side to view week, which is what I'm seeing now, or I can view a month's appointment, which just gives me a grid and just shows me the month with roughly how many appointments I've got per day for each. And that's for that employee only. I can move forward, so very similar to the appointment page, we can move forwards by week, we can move back by week, and we can always move forwards by days as well. And then if we click on today, it always takes us back to today. So down the bottom is an appointment that I've already made. So you can see I've already made an appointment here for Becky. So we have options within anywhere. If you've got the appointment operator option ticked, that you're then able to not only read the appointments, but you can also make appointments, move appointments, and reschedule appointments and delete. So if I click on Becky, I'll show you the moving around first, and then we'll step through actually making an appointment. So if I click on Becky's appointment, you'll see there I have the option to move, reschedule, and cancel. So to move an appointment, I just click on move, and all I do is, you can see it's kind of got like a little bit of a shadow, and I just select where I want to move the appointment to. So if I want to move it down a little bit, I'll move it to 3. So I'm just going to click on 3 o'clock. And you'll see now that that's automatically moved Becky's appointment from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. If I need to reschedule, then again, it's a click and reschedule. And what this does is it takes us back to the booking process as such. So it brings us up to, this is what she's booked in for, and she's booked in with Claire. And then if I hit search, so I can select the dates and times. If I need to move it to a particular day, so let's say we want to move it to tomorrow, and it can be about 11 o'clock. And if I hit search, and then this will give me all the availabilities for that day with Claire for that facial. And if I click book, so I'll go for 11 o'clock. And that's now moved that appointment to 11 o'clock on Friday. To cancel an appointment is purely just to delete an appointment, so just to cancel somebody that doesn't want to come in. And to make an appointment, all I do is just select on the time that I want to book in. So if I wanted to book one in on, let's go for Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock. So I have to search for my client. So I'm just going to search for myself. Now it does search on first name and surname, so you don't have to type in their full name. And here you have an option to edit the client. So that means going into their client card and changing some of the details if you wish. Now you'll see when you edit the client that the client's details that are in there are actually masked. So they already have little stars, so we're not able to get some of the details from the card. So it's nice and secure for your employees. We don't need to worry that they're going to be able to get all the client's details. Cool. And if I'm making a booking, then I'm just going to hit select a client. And then here I'm just going to select what date I'm looking for. So I selected Friday at 1 o'clock and I'm booking it in with Claire. And I'm going to select a facial. And then scroll down to the bottom and search. And it gives me all the time slots available. So luckily she's got an appointment at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So all I'm going to do is hit book. And now if I scroll down, you'll see that I'm now booked in for a facial at 1 o'clock tomorrow with Claire. So really quick and easy to do. Really quick and easy to move around. And as we said, we can use this on phones. So you can use it on mobile devices. So your employees are able to, if they get phone calls from clients, especially if they're self-employed, they can book in themselves. Or if you don't want them to, you can just have them as a read only. And one of the good things is that people are able to see what time the next client is, especially on the shop floor. It'll free up some space around reception. Rather than people coming up to find out what time the next client is, they'll be able to just jump on their phones and have a little nosy. When a client is marked as arrived in shortcuts, so as you mark a client arrived to say that they're in, the appointment within anywhere does go blue as well. So you can use it as a bit of a tool if they are in a staff room out of the way and then they see that their client goes blue, the client's in, they then know the client's there and they can run down or go to reception to go and see to that client. So a little bit of a communication tool as well. Fab. So that takes us through anywhere. So now we're going to have a look at our CIC, so our client information card. So the whole point of our client information card, for anybody that's not aware, is to get the clients to fill in the details in themselves. So we know you get a piece of paper off the client information cards that we supply that are paper ones, and we know that you get them back off the client and you can't understand the writing, you can't make out the email address. Is it a dash, is it an underscore, is it a dot, what does that say? So it makes it really difficult that when you're trying to do your marketing later on that the details aren't correct because you can't read the client's writing or an error has been made. So the client information card is a brilliant way of getting the clients to fill it in themselves, A, so that we can capture all the information, and B, so that we can also make sure that the information that we've got is actually accurate. So to set up our client information card, again, we log into our console. We set up a user as I've just shown you. So you would set up a user and we would tick the CIC access. And then we would add users to access CIC. So we can actually specify that who's going to be able to use their PIN number, because it's PIN secure, on the CIC to allow clients to fill their details in. So the good thing about this is you can actually just set up, rather than giving each employee access to CIC, we could just set up one user just called reception, and that user has access to CIC, and then you would log into a tablet with that one reception user. And then all the employees that have got access with their PIN numbers would then be able to log in with their PIN numbers and use CIC. It makes it a bit secure. It makes it nice and tidy. You access the CIC by selecting the client information tile, and you can search or select or add a new client. You also get the option to hand the device to the clients themselves. So if you're using a tablet, you would hand the device directly to the client. It locks it on that client's page. Or you can edit the client's details yourself. So we give you two options within CIC. So you're able to use it on a tablet with a handheld device for clients to fill in, or you could use it on a separate computer or a laptop to update client information if you still wanted to keep the paper cards. So to jump into our console again, and I'll just walk you through this. So, as I said, in the company settings, you would go in and set up your user as we did before, and we could just set one up called reception. And you should always usually have an employee called business in the salon in your shortcuts. So what we would do is just link up your reception to a business employee, or you could set your own employee called CIC within shortcuts itself. So under the site settings, you'll see down the side you can also access your managed users as well. So you don't have to always go into the company, you can do it from here. But you'll see underneath that there's a managed client card access. And in here, I've got all of my employees. So these are all the employees that are in my system. And what I can do is I've got ticks in all the boxes. So I'm happy for everybody to use their PIN number to access CIC. Or I could just tick a couple of people if I've just got a couple of receptionists that are always going to be using it. I could just tick them and leave everybody else unticked so nobody else can access it. So you'll see on the home screen that we have a client information tile. And if we click on our client information tile, just need to select my site again. You'll see now that it's asking me for a PIN number. So I can't get into CIC unless I've got a PIN number. So I type in my PIN number and you'll see that it's actually verifying. Cool. So I've got nobody in my system today because I've moved them all around. But usually if you've got clients in your system, you'll have a complete list here of all of your clients. Or down the side, we can have add a new client. So add a new client, if we click on this, it then brings up our logo at the top, and you'll see that we can then enter all of our fields as we would with a client information card. Once I hit save or back, you'll see that it logs me out and I have to type in my PIN number again. So we're trying to keep it nice and secure. I'm just going to do a quick search. So you'll see that I've clicked on myself. So I've searched for myself and I've got two options against the client. So I've got the option to hand a client, or I've got the option to edit client. So to edit client means that it opens up the client information card for me to edit on my computer. And the good thing is when you save it, it takes you back to your client list. The hand to client, if I click on this, it then puts it onto, so this would be used on our tablets. It then puts on our client, there we go, that's all our information. Sorry, it's a little bit of a delay. So there's all of our information. It's all the information the client's filled in. And all we would do is just get them to check all their details, update all their details. So not only is it the first time that they come in, it's a continual check in the details, making sure that their details are still okay. So you can make it part of your process that you constantly check. So not just getting them to fill it in the first time that they're in, you can get them to constantly check that their details are up to date, and also it's keeping on top of that data. So clients sometimes forget to tell their salon that they've changed their email address or they've changed their mobile number, and obviously that information is really important to us. So you can just keep on top of it and just keep handing it to the client saying, can you just check that everything's okay? If anything's changed it, and hit save. And as you can see, it then takes us back to the PIN page. So it then locks it back onto that PIN page. So the client's not able to go back into that client list, and it's all secure. So you have to type your PIN number in to have access to get the other client details. So to summarise, we've been through how to create a user to access CICN anywhere, how to search, add or edit client details using your device, and how to create, view, reschedule appointments using Anywhere. So our next webinar is managing memberships with shortcuts. So it's talking about the new memberships feature that will be out shortly, and it's giving you a sneaky peek of what's coming and how it will work. That's going to be on Monday the 29th of June, and that's at 2 p.m. If you wish to sign up, if you visit our website, shortcuts.co.uk, and go to our webinars page, you can sign up from there. And we do have a few webinars on there ready if you wish to sign up to those. If you've missed any of the previous ones, then if you want to again visit our website, shortcuts.co.uk, go to our webinar library, and you're able to then access any of our previous webinars. All of our webinars are recorded, so you're able to go in and access any of the recordings that we've already done. So I'm just going to have a look, see if we've got any questions. Nope, doesn't look like we've got any questions today, which is great. If anybody needs to contact us, then you can get hold of us on 01619724900. You can also contact us on Facebook as well, so facebook.com. We're under Shortcuts UK. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll speak to you on our next session. Thank you very much.